The first contact incident. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the command center of Earth's Orbital Defense Station Alpha, watching the holographic display of humanity's latest achievement, the quantum shield array. After centuries of theoretical work, humanity had finally created a defensive system that could protect entire planets by manipulating the fabric of space-time itself. Final calibration complete. Admiral, reported Commander James Rodriguez, his dark eyes fixed on the streaming data. All 30 satellites are synchronized and ready for the test. Sarah nodded, her silver-streaked hair reflecting the blue glow of the holographic displays. At 53, she had dedicated her life to defending Earth, but she never imagined she'd be overseeing a project that would revolutionize planetary defense. "Begin the test sequence," she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. This wasn't just another military exercise. It was humanity's first step toward becoming a major power in their small corner of the galaxy. The test began smoothly. Training drones launched simulated attacks against Earth, their weapons harmlessly absorbed by the quantum shield. The system was performing beyond expectations, adapting to each new attack pattern with increasing efficiency. Then everything changed. "Admiral," Lieutenant Emma Park's voice cut through the controlled chaos of the command center. "Multiple unknown objects just appeared at the edge of our solar system. They're massive." The holographic display shifted, showing 7 objects, each larger than anything humanity had ever built, approaching Earth at impossible speeds. Their design was organic, almost crystalline, with surfaces that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. "Are they responding to hails?" Sarah asked, already knowing the answer. This wasn't first contact as anyone had imagined it. "Negative, Admiral, but they're scanning us. Scanning everything." Emma's fingers flew across her console. "The energy readings are off the charts." Sarah made her decision. "Activate the quantum shield array. Full coverage, maximum power. Alert all Earth defense forces. This is not a drill." The alien vessels reached Jupiter's orbit in minutes, then Mars in seconds. They showed no sign of slowing. Sarah watched as humanity's most advanced defense system prepared to face its first real test. The leading alien vessel fired, not at Earth, but at the shield array's control satellites. The attack was precise, calculated, and completely ineffective. The quantum shields didn't just stop the energy weapons. They absorbed them, grew stronger, adapted. "Admiral," Commander Rodriguez called out, his voice filled with wonder. "The shields aren't just blocking their attacks. They're learning from them. The system is rewriting its own protocols, developing new defensive algorithms in real time." The alien fleet halted their advance, hanging in space just beyond Earth's orbit. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then, a communication request came through, on all frequencies and in perfect English. "Humans of Earth." The message began, the voice neither male nor female, young nor old. "We are the archivists of the Galactic Council. We have observed your species for centuries, waiting for the moment you would achieve true defensive capability. That moment has arrived, far sooner than any model predicted." Sarah exchanged looks with her command staff. This wasn't first contact. They had been watched all along. "Your quantum shield array," the voice continued, "represents a leap in defensive technology that took other species millennia to achieve. You accomplished it in mere centuries. More concerning is your system's ability to adapt and evolve in real time, a capability we believed impossible for artificial constructs." "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force," Sarah responded, her voice firm. "We mean no harm to your civilization or any others. The quantum shield array is purely defensive technology. That is precisely why we have revealed ourselves," the archivist replied. "What you consider purely defensive technology represents an advancement in warfare beyond anything in known space. Your shields don't just protect. They learn, adapt, and evolve. In the wrong hands, This technology could be modified for offensive purposes that would destabilize the entire galaxy. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. They hadn't just created a defense system. They'd unknowingly developed something that could revolutionize warfare itself. "We came to test your capabilities directly," the archivist continued. "The results are troubling. Your species has achieved in decades what takes others centuries. Your technology evolves at rates we cannot predict or control. And now, this. What are you suggesting?" Sarah asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Humanity must be evaluated by the Galactic Council. Your rapid advancement and unpredictable innovations make you either the galaxy's greatest hope or its most significant threat. Representatives will arrive within 1 Earth month to begin the assessment." As the alien fleet departed as suddenly as they had arrived, Sarah stared at the holographic display, watching the quantum shields shimmer with absorbed energy. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for generations, but no one had imagined it quite like this. "Orders, Admiral," Commander Rodriguez asked, breaking the stunned silence that had fallen over the command center. Sarah straightened her uniform, her mind already racing with the implications of what had just occurred. "Contact all major governments. Tell them everything's about to change. And get me every scrap of data from this encounter. If we're going to be evaluated by a Galactic Council, we need to understand exactly what we've created here." As the command center erupted into activity, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just stumbled onto something far bigger than themselves. They had wanted to protect Earth, but in doing so, they had caught the attention of powers beyond their imagination. The quantum shields continued their silent vigil around Earth, still learning, still evolving, a testament to humanity's greatest strength and perhaps their greatest liability: the ability to create something that even ancient alien civilizations found impossible to predict. The Galactic Assessment. 1 month after first contact, Earth's orbital space had become a gathering point for the most diverse collection of alien vessels humanity had ever imagined. The Galactic Council's assessment fleet hung in geosynchronous orbit, their ships representing technological approaches so varied that Earth scientists were working overtime just to understand their basic principles. Admiral Chen sat in the newly constructed diplomatic chamber aboard the International Space Station, facing the assessment committee. 7 representatives from the most advanced civilizations in known space studied her with expressions that ranged from obvious curiosity to carefully masked concern. "Let us be direct," Admiral Chen spoke. Sinith, the Meridian representative whose crystalline form sparkled under the chamber's lights. "Your species' rate of technological advancement is unprecedented. In the past century alone, you've progressed from primitive combustion engines to quantum manipulation. It's not just impressive, it's impossible by every model we've developed." Sarah maintained her composure, though she could feel the weight of their collective gaze. "With respect, Ambassador Xenith, perhaps your models need updating. Human innovation isn't impossible. It's simply different. Different is precisely what concerns us," rumbled Korth, the Vanguard representative, his massive armored form shifting uneasily. "In the past week alone, your quantum shield technology has evolved 12 times, without any input from your scientists. The system is designed to learn and adapt," Sarah explained. "It's one of our core technological principles. We don't just build tools, we build tools that improve themselves." The chamber fell silent as the representatives exchanged looks. Finally, First Speaker Lyra of the Archivists leaned forward, her ethereal form rippling with colors that seemed to exist beyond normal space. "Admiral, we would like to conduct a practical assessment, a demonstration, if you will, of human military capability." Sarah had expected this, but the request still made her uneasy. "What kind of demonstration?" "A series of combat simulations," Lyra explained. "Your forces against various tactical challenges we've encountered over our combined histories. We want to understand not just your technology, but how you use it." Over the next week, Earth's defense forces participated in increasingly complex battle simulations. The results shocked even Sarah. Human commanders consistently found solutions that the ancient races had never considered. Where the Galactic Council species relied on overwhelming force or millennia-old tactical doctrine, humans improvised, adapted, and overcame. In one particularly striking simulation, a single Earth corvette commanded by Captain Maya Patel faced off against a fleet of Vanguard dreadnoughts. Instead of engaging in conventional combat, Maya used the quantum shields to create a cascading series of space-time distortions, effectively turning the enemy's own weapons against them. The simulation ended in minutes. Impossible, Korth muttered after watching the display. The energy calculations alone would take our best computers days to process. How did your captain make those decisions in real time? She didn't calculate anything, Sarah replied. She went with her gut, tried something new. That's what humans do. The assessment continued, but something had changed. The council representatives no longer watched with just concern. There was fear in their eyes now. Fear not of human weapons or technology, but of human unpredictability. On the final day of testing, First Speaker Lyra called an emergency session. The chamber was tense as she addressed the gathered representatives and human officials. "We have witnessed something unprecedented," she began, her form flickering with troubled colors. "Humanity doesn't just use technology. They form a symbiotic relationship with it. Their quantum shields aren't just defensive systems. They're extensions of human consciousness, evolving and adapting just as rapidly as human thought itself." "Is that not the goal of technological advancement?" Sarah asked. "To create tools that truly serve their purpose." "You don't understand," Zenith interjected. "What you've created isn't just a defense system. It's a new form of warfare. Your ability to innovate in real time, to find solutions that bypass millions of years of tactical doctrine, it changes everything." "The implications are clear," Korth added, his armored plates clicking nervously. "If humanity were to enter a full-scale war, there would be no predicting the outcome. Your species could develop weapons or defenses that could reshape the very nature of combat." Sarah felt a chill as she realized what they were saying. Humanity wasn't being judged for their current capabilities, but for their potential, for what they might become. A decision must be made. Lyra announced, "The full council will convene in one standard week to determine humanity's status in the galactic community. Admiral Chen, your presence will be required." As the chamber emptied, Sarah remained seated, staring at the tactical displays still showing the results of their simulations. Humanity had wanted to prove themselves ready for galactic society, but perhaps they had proven themselves too ready, too capable. Commander Rodriguez found her there hours later, still studying the data. "They're afraid of us," Sarah said without looking up. "Not because of what we've built, but because they can't predict what we'll build next." "Is that such a bad thing?" Rodriguez asked. Sarah finally turned to face him, her expression troubled. "When species as old as stars fear what you might become, yes, Commander. That's a very bad thing indeed." As Earth's night side passed beneath the station, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the real test was yet to come. The Galactic Council wasn't just evaluating humanity's place in the galaxy. They were deciding whether humanity could be allowed to progress unchecked. The quantum shields continued their silent evolution in orbit, each passing moment bringing new adaptations, new possibilities. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the most powerful beings in the galaxy were preparing to make a decision that would change the course of human history forever. The coalition crisis. The news spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. Humans had achieved in centuries what took other species millennia, and their technology evolved faster than anyone could predict. As the Galactic Council prepared for their final deliberation, the known universe erupted into chaos. Admiral Sarah Chen watched from the observation deck of the International Space Station as yet another alien delegation arrived in Earth's orbit. This group's ships were sleek and predatory, their hulls decorated with what appeared to be battle scars worn as badges of honor. The Kraken Concordat. Commander Rodriguez reported, joining her at the window. Third warrior species to request an alliance this week. They're offering to share their entire military database in exchange for access to our quantum shield technology. Sarah shook her head. Same answer as the others. No alliances until after the Council's decision. But it wasn't just warrior races seeking humanity's favor. The Peaceful Harmonious Collective had offered unprecedented trade agreements. The synthetic consciousness had proposed direct neural interfaces between their networks and human AI systems. Even the mysterious Voidwalkers had emerged from their dark matter havens to express interest in human innovation. Admiral, Lieutenant Park's voice came through the comm. Priority message from First Speaker Lyra. The Coalition. They're making their move. Sarah's jaw tightened. The Coalition of Conventional Forces, a group of militant species who believed in maintaining traditional power structures, had been the most vocal opponents of human advancement. Put it through to my private terminal. The message was brief but chilling. The Coalition had declared that humanity's unchecked advancement represented an existential threat to galactic stability. They demanded immediate restrictions on human technological development, backed by the threat of military intervention. They're scared, Rodriguez observed, reading over Sarah's shoulder. Scared enough to risk war. Fear makes people do desperate things, Sarah replied, remembering lessons from humanity's own history, especially when they're about to lose their place in the power structure. The situation deteriorated rapidly. Coalition forces began conducting training exercises near human colony worlds. Merchant ships reported being stopped and searched for human technology. Diplomatic channels filled with increasingly hostile rhetoric. Then came the incident at Nova Terra, humanity's first extrasolar colony. A coalition patrol claimed they detected unauthorized technological advancement and attempted to establish a blockade. They found themselves facing not just the colony's defensive systems, but a hastily assembled fleet of ships from races seeking humanity's favor. Sarah was in an emergency meeting with Earth's Defense Council when the quantum shields suddenly activated themselves. The system had detected something no one else had noticed. A coalition stealth fleet attempting to slip past Jupiter's orbit. They're testing our defenses, Sarah realized. Trying to find weaknesses before the Council makes their decision. But the Coalition had severely underestimated human adaptability. The quantum shields didn't just detect the stealth fleet. They adapted to incorporate the stealth technology itself, becoming even more effective. Each probe, each test, each attempted infiltration only served to make humanity's defenses stronger. The Coalition's response was to call for an emergency session of the Galactic Council, claiming that this aggressive technological assimilation proved their warnings about humanity's dangerous potential. First Speaker Lyra, showing unprecedented bias for an archivist, countered by pointing out that humanity had not once used their technology offensively, despite numerous provocations. The council chamber erupted into chaos as centuries-old alliances fractured over the human question. In the midst of this crisis, Sarah received an unexpected visitor. Korth, the Vanguard representative who had been so troubled by human capabilities, requested a private meeting. "Your species puzzles us." Admiral Chen, Korth rumbled, his massive form seeming almost vulnerable in the station's human-sized conference room. "You have the power to dominate, yet you choose restraint. You face threats, yet you respond with defense rather than retaliation. Why?" Sarah considered her answer carefully. "Because we remember our history, Ambassador. We remember what happens when power goes unchecked, when fear drives actions rather than reason. We developed the quantum shields not to make us stronger than everyone else, but to ensure we would never need to prove our strength through violence." Korth was silent for a long moment. "The Coalition fears you because they cannot control you. The warrior clans admire you because they cannot defeat you. But perhaps we have all missed the most important question, which is not whether humanity is too dangerous to be allowed to advance," Korth said, his multiple eyes fixed on Sarah. but whether the galaxy is ready for a species that has learned to advance without losing its wisdom. As Korth left, Sarah turned her attention back to the tactical displays. The Coalition fleet was still growing, now numbering over 1,000 ships. The pro-human alliance had assembled an even larger force, and caught in the middle was Earth, its quantum shields silently advancing, adapting, evolving, not to win a war, but to prevent one. The next transmission from the Galactic Council was brief. The final deliberation would begin immediately. The future of human advancement, and perhaps the peace of the galaxy itself, would be decided in the next 24 hours. As Sarah prepared for departure to the Council station, she couldn't help but appreciate the irony. Humanity's greatest defensive innovation might lead to the largest conflict the galaxy had ever seen. Unless somehow they could prove that their greatest strength wasn't their technology at all, but their ability to find another way. The Omega Protocol. The Galactic Council's emergency session was interrupted by something unprecedented. Silence. Complete and absolute silence across all communication channels. The quantum shields around Earth suddenly registered energy readings that defied known physics. Admiral Sarah Chin was mid-sentence during her testimony, when every display in the council chamber went dark. In the viewport behind the council members, stars began to disappear. By the void, first speaker Lyra whispered, her ethereal form pulsing with colors of deep distress. They've returned. The ancient threat that had shaped the Council's defensive protocols for millennia emerged from the darkness between stars. The decay, entities that existed in the spaces between dimensions, feeding on energy itself. Their last appearance had ended with the extinction of 3 civilizations. All vessels, battle stations, Korth commanded, his warrior instincts taking over. Conventional weapons have no effect, but we must try to. He was cut off as the first wave of decay entities phased into normal space. They appeared as tears in reality, their very presence causing matter to break down at the quantum level. The Coalition fleet, still positioned aggressively near Earth, found their advanced weapons simply passing through the entities without effect. This is why, Lyra explained, her voice heavy with revelation. This is why your species advanced so quickly, why your technology evolves as it does. The universe itself was preparing for this moment. Sarah watched in horror as the first Coalition ships began to disintegrate, their crews evacuating in desperate launches toward Earth. The quantum shields around the planet pulsed with new patterns, analyzing the threat. Your quantum shield technology, Zenith said, crystal form vibrating with urgency. It doesn't just defend against energy weapons. It adapts to any form of attack. Could it? We have to try, Sarah replied, already connecting to Earth's defense network. But we'll need help. The shields need data, as much as you can give us about these entities. The council chamber transformed into an emergency command center. Ancient races that had been debating humanity's fate now worked alongside them, feeding centuries of accumulated knowledge into Earth's defense systems. The quantum shields began to pulse with new frequencies, incorporating understanding that had taken millennia to gather. Multiple decay entities approaching Earth, Lieutenant Park reported through the emergency channel. The shields are. Admiral, you need to see this. The quantum shields weren't just defending against the decay. They were learning from them. Each interaction caused the shields to evolve, developing new properties that mimicked the entity's dimensional phasing. But it wasn't enough. The decay's attack was too widespread, too powerful. That's when Sarah had an idea that would either save them all or doom them completely. The shields aren't just a defense system, she explained to the Council. They're a network capable of linking with other technologies. If we could synchronize them with your ships, create a galaxy-wide defensive web. Impossible, Korth interrupted. The energy requirements alone would be massive, Sarah agreed. But right now, we have the combined fleets of every major civilization in known space gathered in one system. Together, we might have enough power. The council members exchanged looks. What she was proposing had never been attempted. linking technologies from dozens of different civilizations into a single network. But as another wave of decay entities emerged from the void, they realized they had no choice. The coalition ships, Zenith pointed out, they'll never agree to. A new voice cut through the channel. The coalition pledges its full support. It was High Commander Vex, leader of the very fleet that had been threatening Earth hours before. We were wrong about humanity. Their adaptability isn't a threat. It's our best hope for survival. What followed was perhaps the greatest feat of improvised engineering in galactic history. Human quantum shield technology began linking with Vanguard power cores, Meridian crystal matrices, coalition weapon systems, and dozens of other technologies. Each connection caused the network to evolve, adapt, grow stronger. The decay entities noticed. Their attack intensified, reality itself seeming to unravel around the assembled fleet. Ships began to fail, their crews evacuating toward the relative safety of Earth's strengthening shields. The network is stable, Sarah reported, watching as the quantum shields extended their protection further into space. But we need more power to extend it system-wide. Divert everything, First Speaker Lyra commanded. Life support, weapons, engines, everything goes to the shields. As power flowed into the network, the quantum shields began to display properties never seen before. They didn't just block the decay, they began to push them back, forcing them to phase out of normal space. But it still wasn't enough. The decay's attack was too widespread, their power too vast. Just as hope began to fade, humanity demonstrated once again why they were different. The shields, Sarah announced, her eyes wide as she watched the data stream. They're not just copying the decay's phase technology, they're improving it. Each attack makes them stronger, more efficient. They're learning to fight back. The combined fleet watched in awe as Earth's quantum shields began to pulse with energy that existed between dimensions. The network wasn't just defending against the decay, it was hunting them, forcing them back into the void from which they had emerged. In the space of a few hours, the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known was driven back by the very species whose advancement had caused so much concern. As the last decay entity vanished into the darkness between stars, an unusual sound filled the council chamber. Applause. The coalition crisis had been replaced by something unprecedented: unity. Ancient enemies found themselves working together, their technologies linked in ways they had never imagined possible. And at the center of it all was humanity, whose drive to innovate had just saved the galaxy. But as the celebration began, Sarah noticed First Speaker Lyra and the other council members in deep discussion. Their expressions were troubled, and she knew why. Humanity hadn't just proved themselves capable of defending against any threat. They had demonstrated the ability to unite the technologies of every major civilization into a single, evolving network. The question was no longer whether humanity was too dangerous to be allowed to advance. It was whether the galaxy was ready for what humanity might become. The final verdict. 3 days after the decay entities were driven back into the void, the Galactic Council reconvened. The chamber was different now. Battle damage scarred its ancient walls, and emergency repairs were still ongoing. But the biggest change was in the attitudes of those present. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the council, but this time there was no fear in their eyes. Instead, she saw something more complex: respect, wonder, and concern all mixed together. Humanity has proven itself beyond any doubt. First Speaker Lyra began, her form shimmering with formal colors. In the face of an existential threat, you didn't just defend yourselves. You united the galaxy in ways we never thought possible. The quantum shield network remains active, Zenith added, crystal form pulsing with excited frequencies. It continues to evolve, incorporating elements from all our technologies. Nothing like this has ever existed. Which brings us to our current dilemma. Korth rumbled, his warrior's armor still bearing scars from the recent battle. Humanity's greatest strength is not in warfare, but in transcending it entirely. Sarah listened as each council member spoke, gradually understanding where this was heading. The coalition representative, speaking for the first time since the battle, summarized it best. "We feared humanity's potential for destruction." The coalition speaker admitted, "We were wrong. What we should have feared, or perhaps hoped for, was your potential for transformation." First speaker Lyra rose, her ethereal form expanding to fill the chamber with shifting colors. "We have reached a unanimous decision. Effective immediately, humanity is banned from participating in any galactic warfare." Sarah blinked in surprise. After everything that had happened, after proving humanity's worth in battle, this was their decision. But before she could protest, Lyra continued, "This is not a punishment, Admiral Chen. This is a promotion." The chamber's displays activated, showing the quantum shield network that now spanned the solar system. But it was different now, evolved. The network had begun incorporating principles from every major civilization's technology, creating something entirely new. "You don't understand what you've created," Zenith explained, excitement causing his crystalline form to chime. "The quantum shield network isn't just a defense system anymore. It's becoming a new form of space itself, one that makes traditional warfare impossible within its influence. Your species has done what none of us could," Korth added. "You've made peace not through treaties or deterrence, but by transforming the very nature of conflict." The displays showed the network's expansion plans. Within years, it would cover every major inhabited system. Within decades, it would encompass the entire galaxy. Traditional weapons would become obsolete, replaced by a defensive system that evolved to counter any threat before it could manifest. "We're not banning you from warfare," Lyra explained. "We're asking you to become its replacement. Humanity will serve as the guardians of this network, ensuring that it continues to evolve and adapt to protect all sentient life." Sarah finally understood. Humanity's ban from warfare wasn't a restriction. It was an acknowledgement that they had evolved beyond it. Their drive to innovate, to find new solutions, had created something greater than weapons or shields. They had created hope. "There will be resistance," the coalition speaker warned. "Many species profit from conflict. They will not accept this change easily." "Then we'll do what humans have always done," Sarah replied. "We'll adapt. We'll find a way to make it work. Not through force, but through innovation." The council chamber erupted in agreement. Species that had been enemies for millennia now found themselves united in a common cause. The quantum shield network continued its silent evolution, guided by human innovation, but powered by the combined knowledge of 1,000 civilizations. As the formal ceremony concluded, Sarah found herself back at the observation deck of the International Space Station. Earth rotated peacefully below, surrounded by ships from across the galaxy, no longer divided into hostile fleets, but working together to expand the network. Commander Rodriguez joined her at the window. "So that's it. Humanity is banned from fighting wars because we're too good at making them obsolete." Sarah smiled. "Turns out our greatest weapon wasn't our technology or our adaptability. It was our ability to imagine something better." They watched as the quantum shields pulsed with new patterns, incorporating knowledge and principles from civilizations humans hadn't even met yet. Each evolution made war less possible, less necessary, less imaginable. "You know," Rodriguez mused, "when we first developed the quantum shields, we thought we were creating the ultimate defense system. Instead, we created the ultimate peace system." Sarah finished, "Not by being the strongest or the most advanced, but by showing the galaxy a different way to solve problems." The shield network sparkled with new connections, each one representing another step toward a galaxy where warfare was not just banned, but unnecessary. Humanity had been banned from galactic warfare not because they were too powerful, but because they had found something more powerful than war itself: the ability to unite, adapt, and evolve together. As night fell over Earth, the quantum shields continued their silent work, guided by human innovation, but powered by the collective will of a galaxy that had finally found a path to lasting peace. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't winning wars. It was making them obsolete. And in the vast darkness between the stars, where the decay entities had once threatened all existence, a new kind of space was taking shape, a space where the only war was the endless battle against entropy itself, fought not with weapons but with innovation, cooperation, and the uniquely human ability to imagine a better way.